Hang on, hang on, hang on. Oh no! I can't find your request now, love. Hang on. Here we go. I'm hoping she's there. So lovely to
Oh,
see some familiar names. Hello, lovely. How are you?
I'm in. Woo! I haven't
Oh,
in so long. I remember during lockdown, I did tons and I watched tons. So I was kind of trying to think, do I remember how to log on again to these things? So I'm delighted we're here and we're chatting.
oh, and I'm delighted to have you. And I didn't realise you had such a beautiful Irish accent.
Yes, I'm from Dublin, but I've been here nearly 10 years now. Even though I wouldn't call myself a Londoner, even when I passed the 10-year threshold, I'm still an Irish girl at heart.
Oh my goodness. It's a beaut. You've got such a lovely accent, like proper thick Irish accent. I love it.
But you know what's actually really funny is, as I said, I've been here 7 years. And for a good few years, the accent kind of got a little bit diluted. But then
Yeah.
over the past year and a bit, I've kind of reconnected to a few Irish friends. I've also been listening to a few Irish podcasts. So I think I have a really thick Irish voices
Yeah.
and strong female voices in my ears all the time. So my boyfriend's
Yeah.
like, all of a sudden you're more Irish than you ever were when I met you 6 years ago. I was like, it must just be the podcast.
I
Which is
think
fun.
when you surround yourself by people, like I've got one of my best friends is Liv Pudlian, and I end up like taking on her accent when I'm with her, although it really pisses her off. I
No.
can't help myself. I'm one of these people that just I can't help myself.
But when you have
Um,
that clear, it just happens, and especially all the kind of Celtic accents, they're kind of hard not to slip
yeah, they
into.
really are. So today we're obviously talking hair loss, and what something that we do on the C list. If I tell you a little bit about what we do over here, is we're very much part of the cancer community, and it was set up um, by myself after my own diagnosis and finding it really difficult to get tips and tricks and advice on products that you can use and sort of things. I sort of found that it was hard to get practical advice. I was
Yeah.
very much told like this is going to happen to you, your hair's going to fall out, and I was like, yeah, but what can I actually do? And
Mhm.
I wish that there was somebody there that said, you don't have to get an NHS wig. You can get microblading done. That they're quite. Of course, the team around me are trying to get rid of the cancer. That's their main thing. Of course it is, and we're totally grateful for that.
Mhm.
But that was why I sort of went into this as a bit of a sideline, really, just to try and help and support. And
Yeah.
whilst your journey hasn't been cancer related, you very much have had one of the major side effects, which is hair loss. So it's alopecia for
Yes.
you. And am I right in saying that you were 15 when that
Yes.
happened?
And I just want to say, I think it's so bloody amazing what you do. Is
Oh,
unfortunately,
thank you.
cancer struck my family and continues to strike some amazing members of my family. And I know, for example, from finding out about you through our connection, I've kind of sent them all. I've
Oh,
sent
thank you.
it's so amazing. And I think it's around normalizing it, as you say, talking about tangible tips and tricks that actually people and women want to know when they're going through it.
Yeah,
And I think that you can only give that advice when you've been through it yourself,
I
really.
totally agree.
It's so amazing what you're doing, and there's such kind of synergy between why you started doing what you were doing and why I started doing what I was doing. Because alopecia in itself, people kind of know a little bit more about it now, but when I got it around 15 years ago, people had no clue really what it was. And the thing with alopecia, you're right, I got it when I was 15. I was diagnosed at 15 for a little tiny small patch at the back of my head, and the doctors, no one was really there to help. All people
Mm,
did was throw horrible steroid creams at me that would burn and itch my scalp. And more than anything else, people always ask me about my mental health in and around that time when I was being diagnosed at that kind of really, really vulnerable age. And I don't really remember being extremely sad or devastated. I just remember being so confused because to me,
mm,
alopecia and hair loss meant one thing. It meant you were going through a trauma, you were really, really sad, and that was that. And I was looking at me
mm.
as a girl who, yes, perhaps had a bit of underlying anxiety condition, but for the most part was happy out, having the crack, go for drinks with their friends, and it just
Mm.
quite compute. So
But such an impressionable age as well, you know, where you're sort of finding yourself, you're finding your identity, you know, getting interested in finding, you know, going on, finding partners, you know, all that sort of stuff. And it must have been a really, really tough
time,
pill to
you know,
swallow,
what?
really.
Really difficult time being 15. But I say to women, and I've been lucky enough to meet just amazing, empowering women throughout the past kind of, especially 5 years after setting up my community Hair Free and business last year, that no matter what age and no matter what reason you lose your hair, the
Mm,
loss and the grief is still there, because it's
mm,
not just loss of hair, it's a loss of identity and sense of self,
mm,
and how you want to present yourself to the world, how you choose to express yourself to the world. And it means
mm,
that at a much younger age, at 15, I had to ask questions that perhaps I would have done in later years, which perhaps was a good thing. But I had to kind of
mm,
be and what I was without my hair, and what I was being a girl
mm.
who wigs, or in the past 5 or 6 years when I started embracing being more hair free, I had to try and find, well, who was I without looking like I had hair. Do you know what I mean? So it definitely
Yeah, completely.
complicated time for sure. And also, like you say, I wanted just to be normal at that age. I wanted to be a sheep. I wanted to follow. I did not want to be different. And the
Oh,
alopecia,
yeah.
for sure, that kind of started off with a small patch, then within a year was completely gone. That definitely did not make me fit in and did not make me normal. And you know, I had dreams um when I was really young, of being a model and an actress, and that was my life's mission and life's goal. I
Yeah.
thought, this is it. I'm
Yeah.
going to be Kate Moss. I'm going to be the next Julia Roberts. And then when one's hair starts falling out, you're like, well, shite, that's not going to happen then, is it? Because who would want?
Yeah, and also it must mentally just totally wind you as well.
Really did. And it was really only when I look back at my life when it was happening, I think, and it would be interesting to know from your point of view when your hair was falling, what you thought. But when it was happening, it was quite gradual over a year. And I never really dealt with it. I just pushed it down, pushed it down, pushed down the
Mm,
emotions, the negative feelings. And I remember my mum saying to me, Amber, something's got to give. At one point,
mm,
you realize and wake up one day and realize you have no hair. And that did come,
mm,
that realization did come
mm,
in years later, 25, when I got a panic attack in a football stadium, and I couldn't quite correlate
wow.
the panic to the alopecia. But of course, that was a huge trauma in my life that was just
Mhm.
hell, that then decided to come up later on in
Were
life.
you were you wearing wigs at that time, or were you still patchy and able to sort of cover it with your remaining hair?
Yeah, so it kind of got to a point where so this is when I was a teenager. So 15, it started to fall, little patches, always able to cover it. I remember
Mm,
me and friends would kind of go around the house finding some eyeshadow to kind of fill in the gaps, or we'd
yeah,
have like old man spray, we'd spray on the patches.
yeah, yeah.
And then I got a weave, a kind of 6, 8 months into the kind of alopecia journey, and that
Yeah.
weave pulled out all my hair. And then from that moment on, so I'm going to say I was around 16. From
Wow.
that moment on, when I saw myself bald for the first time in that mirror in that salon, never fucking forget it, because it was that kind of like
Uh, because
feeling.
is that what did you have then the weave taken off?
I had the weave taken off, so it was the first time I
Uh,
saw the reality of the
yeah.
situation. Popped a wig on then, and basically didn't take it off essentially until I was 24, 25 years old, which I'm 29 now, so only a few years back, where they became my armor, they became my
Mm,
shield, they
I totally
became
get it.
they became my everything, because they just
Mm,
allowed me to be a normal
mm,
but a normal
yeah,
girl in Ireland who just needed to get on.
yeah. And did you go for wigs that looked like wigs? In that, did you sort of go out there and get a purple something and then wear different colours every day, or did you very much want to just like blend in?
Oh,
You wanted
100%.
to.
And it
Mm,
would get to the point where I remember bless my parents, thank God, they had a hair account. Every month they would put money towards the hair account, because I would
oh,
not think that wasn't perfect and that didn't look perfect.
no.
And bit later about how hard that was to find and the hellish experience I had with the wig suppliers, and hence why I started my own venture within that space.
Mm,
But absolutely, they had to look exactly the same, because then if they
mm.
didn't, ask, "Oh, Amber, did you change your hair?" And then I'd have to explain and panic to think, "Oh, Amber looks a bit longer today. Why is that?" And then I'd panic, and then I'd have to then come up with an answer. Do you know what I mean? So for me,
Yeah.
the anxiety around making it look 100% real. And now, it's only now, since really I started the business, and maybe a couple of years, that now I find the joy in wigs. When before,
Yeah.
definitely, now they're a total joy, where I can be
Mm,
a blonde. I feel most me in my red wigs, but blonde and browns and,
mm.
short bobs. And what I find amazing, and I hope to do a documentary one day about how people, and I'm sure maybe you have this, I'd love to hear more about you and your journey, but when you're walking down the street and you're a blonde, the people who look at you are different. Your
Yes.
coffee order, they treat you differently. When you go down with the dark short bob with bangs, different men are looking at you then, different
Oh
women are
my,
in different ways. It's like, it's
that's
it's
so
so,
interesting.
it's
But
mad.
then yourself, do you take on like a different like
Persona, 100, and you don't notice.
persona?
So
Yeah.
fun. So it's there's a shift. It's kind of like, there's 100% a shift. Absolutely, I feel like I have to almost play up to the character sometimes as well, which is great.
Yeah.
It's great fun. When you
Yeah.
did you lose your hair when you were going through
So
it?
the type of drug that I was given, my oncologist said that you will lose every hair on your head,
Mhm.
unless I tried the cold cap,
Yeah.
which I did. I tried the cold cap, and I was really fortunate that it did wonders for me. The
Wow.
only thing, so I ended up with a bald patch here
Hmm.
and very high hairline around here. Obviously lost my eyelashes and my eyebrows, which are key, right?
That's every.
So but before I started my chemo, I went wig shopping. So I'm a real sort of like practical person. I'm like, give me a problem, I need a solution. I need to be like a girl guide about it and be like
Yeah.
prepared and like, what am I going to. So I went out looking at wigs, and I actually went to a hair weave place to look
Mhm.
at their weave systems. Number one, it was astronomically expensive. I nearly fell off the seat. But also how I felt I was treated when I got there as well. It's like this person had just seen people with hair loss day in, day out, and I was just another number. And there was no empathy there. And it's a really emotional time.
It's hellish.
So yeah, so I decided not to go down that route, and but I found a wig. I found one that was half acrylic and half natural, and it was the closest I could get to me. But I never actually had to wear it. But one thing I never want to have to go through again is go wig shopping again, because it almost scarred me. But the
Awful.
next wig shop that I went into, they had me sat in the window trying on different wigs, and I'm like literally like
Falling crying.
floods of tea. Yeah, because you just lose. I felt like a piece of meat a little bit.
Oh my God,
um
so sad. Actually
yeah.
makes me so angry, because I hear these stories day in and day out, and it makes me so emotional and so sad. It's because it's such a big thing that happens in our lives, no
Mm,
matter what happens. And
mm,
it's literally walking in, all they see is dollar signs on your head, and all they want to do.
mm,
I'll speak from my point of view, and a lot of women that I've heard their point of view going wig shopping or going online. It's like there's no thought gone into it. There's no kind of,
mm,
how was this woman feel? How can we make this a little bit more of a joyous experience? How can we
mm,
make this, let her know that it's going to be okay? How can we make
mm,
it more modern? Can we make it a little sexy? Can we make it a little bit more aspirational?
mm,
Can we just put a bit of goddamn effort into something that is so important to women? I
mm,
get so riled up. And also the thing of people overcharging because they know they can, really,
mm,
really gets me. Don't get me wrong. one of the reasons why I wanted to get involved in the wig business, because I was so fascinated by how, you know, how much was I getting ripped off at for years. And yeah,
Mm,
but
mm,
hair is very expensive, and buying
it
conscious
is. Yeah.
hair and good wigs is really expensive. But there's no need to put an X trillion margin on it. You know,
Mm,
in the business and in the wig game and the hair loss game is to give women something that, you know, they need it. So don't take advantage of it. Try and help them. You know what I mean?
mm.
So I'm really genuinely sorry you went through that, and it's a shit show. So that's really what my
Yeah, it really is. It is a bit of a shit show. It's very much like I found losing my hair. It was like the thought of it was almost like losing a limb, which sounds it sounds dramatic, but it was like, because I lost a boob as well, and you sort of have to learn how to be a woman again, which is really, it sounds really, but that's how I felt. I felt like everything was just sort of like falling away. And actually, when I did go and get my eyebrows, somebody had said, get them microbladed. Oh my God, how I felt going into it, I felt so empowered. I'm like, screw you, cancer, I'm going to do this and it's going to look great. And it did look great and I loved it. And that's how I felt when I found a good wig and a good prosthetic boob, and it's all like part of your armor, like you say.
absolutely.
So
And you say about the eyebrows, just a note on that. So my hair on my head and my body went around 3-4 years into the alopecia journey, but then 6 years in, and I tell you, I had the best brows you've ever seen. I will just be honest. I don't care about how vain I sound. They were these thick, almost unibrow like eyebrows that were just
oh
stunning.
wow.
So proud of them. They were my thing. And I remember I actually was doing a show at the time. I was doing the Christmas Carol in the Gate in Dublin. And I had this nice theatre in Dublin. There was this gorgeous actress where she had thin eyebrows, so she always would be filling them in. And I remember thinking, oh, I never need to do that. But I do remember, like, kind of subconsciously almost being like, oh, Tara, can I try that? And I remember kind of trying, I'm filling it in, thinking, I think I was just avoiding to the max of
Yeah,
what actually was going on. And I,
yeah,
8 weeks straight, this is going to sound a bit gross, but I'd wash my face, but I wouldn't wash off the eyebrow.
yeah, yeah.
And again, like that weave moment when they took that wig off for the first time, I'll never forget the first time I was like, oh shite, I should probably, clean off these eyebrows now. I got the cotton pad, went like this.
Were they gone?
I just saw these on out of my eyebrows, and I was like, you got to be kidding. They were my thing. They were everything. And what I was so lucky with, in a sense, was, at the time I kind of was modeling a bit and I was acting. So I kind of had resources around me to pull on, like makeup artists,
Mm,
hairstylists,
mm,
not people who aren't within the business don't necessarily have those
mm,
necessarily connections they can ask. Like, help, I could. And even still, I struggled. So we tried for ages because there was no chance I was going to shave them off. So I had all these
mm,
different textures. They're like, right, Amber, let's try bleaching them and then drawing them on. That didn't work. Then actually, I found myself being able to be represented by a modeling agency and worked quite successfully for 4 to 5 years with my wigs. But once my eyebrows went, they said, no, sorry, we can't represent you anymore. You're going to have to find a different agency and go off to India to see if your hair will grow back. So I know exactly what you mean about the eyebrows giving you that sense of self back. Even with me now,
yeah,
when I'm having my
yeah,
back days, I'll definitely pop a wig on. But if I don't have my eyebrows on any of the days, I don't feel like I'm me, or I don't feel
yeah.
like,
So what do you do now? Are yours drawn
yeah,
on or are yours tattooed?
mine are drawn on. The reason I had them microbladed, and that is fantastic. And I'd say that to women all the time to get microblading. Just find someone good. I always say, I'm sure you do too.
Yeah, yeah, because I've seen some clangers, right?
Yeah, there's some definite clangers. So now I just draw them on. Yeah, because I've been doing it every day now for 10 years. I can do it in like a minute. I could do it on a bumpy train. I could do it in the
They
car.
look so good. What do you use for them?
So I've been using the same thing for 15 years, and if it runs out and if they discontinue it, I'm snookered. So I need to actually go in.
You
Like
need to
getting
go and batch buy a load of it.
I get anxiety about that once a month where I'm like, I need to buy just in case they discontinue it. There's a brand called Ilamasca, and it's their eyebrow cake. I'll send you a link. It's their eyebrow cake, and I use a MAC, the thinnest side angle brush you can imagine. And I do this. I have some hair tutorials on my hair free site, and I lick it. I do a little bit of this, and I just kind of do little
Because it
feather.
looks like you do like individual.
Oh, I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I go in with like different textures. Then I use a Glossier pen and then kind of go in to make them a bit thinner. It's all around making the different textures thinner, thicker.
Yeah.
Years of practice paid off. What's the 1,000 hour theory, 100 hours theory? What's that thing where you become an expert? Yeah.
Is that right?
I think so. I think that what they say woods or
that
something.
means that I'm an expert at eating Easter eggs.
Yes.
That's so funny. What about eyelashes?
So most days I don't, as you can see. For years I hated how it looked not having anything on, so like no eyeliner. And then I grew to actually really love it, and actually thought, oh, I actually look younger and fresher sometimes actually without, and actually quite thought it looked different and nice. But I normally put a little bit of, as you see, a little wing eyeliner on.
Yeah.
I'm going out. I have been using this brand of Allure. I'll also send you a link because they're fantastic. Allure Natural, and they're the number. I think they're the number 20. I think, and they're basically just the thinnest lashes you can find.
Yeah, I've seen them, and you can. Do you put them on individually, or is it a strip?
It's a strip, because I find the individual ones, not only are they faff, sometimes the butt is a bit too thick. So these is really it's really easy to put on.
The one product that I found was Lola's lashes, and they are a magnetic lash.
I'll check those out.
Show you. So you basically draw on your eyeliner.
Yeah.
And then the lash like clicks onto it and sticks. And they are really good. They are so clever, and they have fine ones, thick ones. I mean, you can go full drag if you want to, or you can just have the very like light ones. But honestly, it was just fantastic. It was such a great find. Yeah.
Tried the when you were younger, you used to get those fake tattoos in like your crisp packets. Do you remember you used to get those tattoos?
Yes.
They have those.
Forgot about those.
Yeah. Have you not seen the eyebrows that are like that?
No.
Oh, you're in for a treat. So these kind of came up in the scene, especially within the alopecia scene, around a year ago now. So
those fake. Yeah.
Eyebrows. You've never seen anything like it. They are amazing.
Are they not a bit shiny?
Yeah, so all the amazing alopecia makeup artist girls, which I'm not one of, they kind of do the whole patting down business.
Right.
But generally, I mean, it's a tiny bit of sheen. But look, even when you look at my eyebrows, you have a bit of sheen because there's no kind of hair there sometimes.
Right.
It's a little bit of dab, a bit of powder on, and genuinely, it's really good. Really good.
Wow, I never would have thought of that. And actually, that would be something quick and easy for somebody going through cancer treatment to use. I wanted to ask you, tell me about the Hair Free Life. So that is a support sort of network that you set up?
Yeah, it was really so similar to why you set up the C list. Was you wanted to find information, you wanted to find tangible information, emotional support, advice, tutorials. And it was basically that. After going through my hair loss journey, I had loads of women asking me through Facebook, Bebo, MSN, asking me different things like eyebrows, eyelashes, like we're having a chat about now, or just this chat, for example. This would be the kind of put up on Hair Free. It's just all around normalizing it, speaking about having sex in a wig, sleeping in a wig, the first time you lose your hair, how it feels. So it sits on an Instagram and also on a website, and it's basically just there to exist for women who suffer from hair loss from no matter what reason.
And do you find on there that people start a thread and then other people support, give their feedback, or is it you responding to that, or how does that?
So it's kind of more me putting up a post and then people kind of engaging with that. Again on Instagram, for example, the comments underneath, and
Mm,
also very simple for me anyway. When I was going through it, just seeing visuals, seeing
yeah,
images of other bald women, other
yeah,
hair.
yeah,
That stuff, I remember I would have loved that, and I've been lucky enough to chat to the gorgeous Gail Porter over the past kind of couple of years, and I remember how horrible the media were her when she was going through
mm,
a hair loss, how they spoke about it and how they treated her. And that was another woman who, or
yeah. I've got a lot. I've met her a few times before, and I've got a lot of admiration for her because she just, like you, she just now owns it, doesn't she?
absolutely,
But the stick that she took along the way was just unbelievable,
yeah. And what I find
really.
in life and also within my modeling and acting career, how the world has shifted is really quite amazing. So when I look back to, the 18-year-old, 19-year-old me who was dropped by my agent because my eyebrows were falling out, who I remember I suggesting in a meeting, even though I wasn't ready for it, maybe suggesting, should I try modeling without my wigs? They were like, absolutely not. Or I remember when,
It's a different world now, though, isn't it? I think.
it's a trend and people are embracing it, celebrating it,
Yeah,
okay with this.
yeah. But
Awesome.
that only comes when people are ballsy like you and just kind of own. I know that you don't necessarily have wanted your situation, but you sort of owning it now,
Mm-hmm.
and you're sort of sharing your story like this. I think it makes everybody else their ears prick up. I work on the Lorraine show on ITV, and today we did a story on the show about bowel cancer and stomas, and we had Adele Roberts on, and she was talking about her stoma, and she photographs herself showing her stoma bag, and the amount of support and emails and messages and stuff that we got through about that. And it's because finally people are talking about these sort of, before it was all like whispered behind clothes, oh, that girl's got no hair, or that girl's, she's got a poo bag, or whatever it is. But it's not like that now. We've got people like you and Adele and all these other people that are like, this is me, and this is
And
life.
isn't it? And with the thing with hair loss, obviously, the stats of women who are going through cancer as well, most of those women unfortunately are going to lose their hair. And other women with hair loss in the UK alone, like there's 8 million women in the UK who are dealing with hair loss, that being alopecia, like
That's
me.
astonishing.
It's mad. So that's female pattern baldness, um, hair loss due to menopause, traction alopecia like me. I mean, there's so many different types, and once you're aware of it, you go on the tube, you'll see a woman, a man in his beard. It's so common that
Mm-hmm.
we don't realize it, and
Mm-hmm.
so important to speak about it. And I find myself, and do not get me wrong, some days I'm not going out hair free. I hate it. I don't
Yeah.
want to be looked at. I don't want to have to explain myself. But then there is some days I was cycling. I go to cycle up in Shoreditch. I live in East London, and I almost had this feeling inside where I was on my bike and I was like, I kind of want people to look at me. I want people to look at me and and see me and think, that's a bald girl, and okay, and not be a big deal. I almost kind of
Yeah.
felt like so empowered to be there. I think I was cycling and had this gorgeous fitness instructor in front of me, but I had this real feeling of stare away because
Yeah. Yeah.
care and I actually want you to.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm
Yeah.
okay and I'm healthy and I'm on my bike, and that's that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And have you ever, and I'm assuming your answer is probably yes, do people ever say to you, oh, you having treatment for cancer?
This is so funny because lots and lots of people within my community, that being on hair free and women I met through Amber Jean, one of the most common things they've ever gotten. I haven't have anyone say it to me. I've had a couple of people imply it especially when I was younger. I remember I
Right.
got a free meal out of it. I think they thought awful, but I haven't personally had that, and that's awful. It's awful. And I think they just thought I was poorly, and they just gave
Oh
me.
my God.
I know I took the
Sorry, that is too funny.
bad that I ate the meal and didn't say anything. But anyway,
No, no, I would have done exactly the same thing.
they didn't say anything, or they could
Oh,
just thought she has alopecia. But this was 10 years ago, so I don't think they would
yeah.
have known alopecia was.
No,
Anyway, I ate
no.
it, and that was that. Um, but I haven't. But the lots and lots of women in my community do have that, and
Mm,
it's a really tricky thing because, yes, like you said at the beginning, I have it for longer, but I don't have the other huge element of fighting. So,
mm,
yes, I'm
mm,
that I'm not in control of
mm,
my body
mm,
and my own hair, and that's obviously so debilitating. But that's one
mm,
thing. You're losing your
mm.
hair, so many other elements to consider.
Yeah, absolutely. My God.
So
Mm.
it's a
But
difficult
tell
one.
me about so you obviously set up the Hair Free Life platform, but what made you start the business, and how's that going?
Business has been genuinely the most fulfilling thing I've done in my life thus far. It's been so fun and just amazing to have something and see it grow and see people wearing the Amber Jean pieces and looking fab and feeling fab and just loving it, which is just so,
Mm.
it's so amazing to see.
So just in case nobody knows, these are so you've brought out a range of wigs and hair pieces, haven't you?
So their hair pieces. Also, we didn't just stop there because I obviously wanted really beautiful, chic, modern wigs, but
Mm.
also be able to give as much choice to women as possible. So we
Mm.
have silk, big, gorgeous scarves that don't slip on the heads. They've kind of been specially designed for women with hair-free heads or semi-hair-free heads. They don't
Oh,
slip.
okay.
They
Yeah,
they look beautiful, and there's
yeah.
loads of swirls on the site.
Then
And
you don't necessarily need the boob tape.
exactly, you don't need the tit tape. Exactly. So I love. They're stylish. They're ones I'd wear. They're gorge. And
Yeah.
other thing we found was to have products look after your hairpiece, because also, again, lucky from being speaking to other hairstylists throughout my time, but I never really found anything was catered for me and my needs,
Mm.
my wig and my non-bio hair. So we created two really simple products: a beautiful, gorgeous hair mask that's specially designed for treating wigs, extensions, toppers, hair pieces. And it kind of
Mm.
really just exists to mend any kind of broken bonds, give moisture, give shine, because hair growing out of the head versus hair on a wig, the need state is totally different, and it needs
Mm.
so much more
Yeah.
attention. And I also
Are
just
they
wanted to
real hair? Are your hair pieces real hair, or are they a mix? Or
real hair. So for us as well, that was a huge part of the business, was to make sure that we're working with as conscious as suppliers as possible. So it literally took us a year and a half to find suppliers that we were comfortable and happy with, and
mm.
craftsmen's were not only made beautiful pieces, but also that their values were in line with us. So that was really, really, really important. So I started this business, really the products and the hair pieces was, I was sick myself of going to my awful hair suppliers, my wig companies that I would spend years and years trying to find when I found one, and they just take advantage of me, make
Yeah.
it awful,
Yeah.
the nose. I was sick of it. And then from hair,
Mm.
hearing everyone else's stories, I was like, I need to do something. I need to
Yeah.
do something. And it truly just exists to elevate the lives of women going through hair loss. Let them know it's okay. Give them pieces, hair pieces, give them other alternatives, give them products, and also give
Mm.
them support. So, we have
Yeah.
on consultations on our site for women to come on, chat to me about any kind of issues that they're having. If they're choosing a wig, they're not sure about this or that.
Mm.
I'm there to help. We have mental health elements throughout the whole
Good.
website, the blogs. We had a hair loss event last week. My mother is a loss and bereavement psychotherapist. So we did a whole talk around tools and tips and strategies around how to deal with when you're losing hair, that grief and that loss, how to deal
Mm.
with that.
Mm.
Very soon we're creating, it's in the midst now, we're creating a CBD, so cognitive behavioral therapy program for women who are dealing with any kind of loss, hair or any loss, can come on and enter that program, who are really struggling to kind of get the support they need. So
Oh, that's so interesting.
yeah,
Um, Anne's just asking, will you give us a link to your website? I will put it on when I tag Amber in on this. If you click on that, it takes you through to Amber's handle, and your shop is on there. But it's
shop.
amberjeanshop.com.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
It was just, the whole mission was just to, women who are going through something so traumatic as hair loss deserve better. And that was that.
Mm.
That was the kind of be all and end all of it. And it's been the greatest joy in my life so far, as much as, you know, my family and friends and fiance,
Of
you know,
course. Yeah,
life.
yeah,
It's great to be able to help. And that's why I think it's so amazing what you do,
yeah,
because you do it. And
yeah.
what you're doing, the difference you make in people's lives is amazing. And you
I
should
just
never.
think talking about this sort of stuff just helps. It's a simple thing, but if something happens to you and you're able to share it, you know, if this conversation helps one person, then
We're doing a good.
we're in a good place, aren't we?
Exactly. So true.
Oh well, listen, Amber, I'm not going to keep any more of your time. Thank you so much. I'd really love for you to keep in
Sure.
touch, and I'll put a link up to your Michelle's just saying it was an informative chat. Oh,
Oh,
thank you,
thank you.
Michelle. And I will yeah, put links up, and I'd love to do a link actually from the CLIS website as well. The face that how do, if people ask, how do they sign up to the platform, the Hair Free Life? Is that different to Amber Jean
Yeah.
Shop?
So Hair Free Life, just go onto the Instagram, follow us on Instagram, and also there's a website that's hairfree.life. I'll send you those URLs, and that's just a place where
Brilliant.
you read and engage.
And this is for people with any kind of hair loss. So if you're from the cancer community, you're welcome. If it's alopecia, whatever type of hair loss,
Yeah,
you tick all
absolutely.
those boxes.
Anyone. And we've had so many amazing women from all walks of life that come and
Mm.
just want to feel a part of a strong,
Yeah,
hard community that have been
yeah,
through something, and they're, you
yeah.
know, they're just strong ass women. And I'm just proud to be speaking to you and be a part of this.
Oh,
So
thank
cool. Thank you
you.
for having me. It's such a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Let's keep in touch. Thanks everybody for joining us. Have a good evening, everyone.
Bye. Thank
Take
you,
care.
everyone.
See you later. Bye, lovely.
Bye.